Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of the Deloitte Women's Premier League magazine show. And of course this week we are joined by the wonderful ladies at Still Aerion, one of the loudest and the brightest teams in the league, I have to say, based on the jerseys but also the vibes. Because all the guests who have come on this show have been, I would say, one of the more exciting ones, the more excited ones from your team. So, previously we had Jasmine, we had a couple of others as well. So thank you so much, of course, for coming on the show. But this week we have Abby and Larissa in the house. Thank you so much, girls, for joining me.
Thank you.
So, how are you guys feeling about, the season break right now? There's no football, but how are you guys, spending the time?
We're still training. We're still training 3 times a week. We do our training at Bukit Gombak, and then we also do strength and conditioning. So we're not stopping. We're ready as soon as October hits to get right back into it.
Yeah, it's a break, but we're still doing friendlies. We're still, working just as hard.
Can you guys share with me a bit of background about yourself? Because you're definitely not Singaporean for sure, right?
No.
So maybe you can tell us where you're from and also like how your story in football started.
So I'm Singaporean, but I went to an international school. So I grew up in a bit of a different environment than most Singaporeans. And then I also studied abroad. So I've also played in university in the UK. Yeah.
Nice. And Larissa, for yourself?
Yes, so I'm American. I'm from the United States. I've been playing for about 30 years now, so I think that kind of gives away my age. I started when I was very young, playing mostly with boys actually, in my primary and secondary school. It was so small that if you wanted to play, everyone played on the team, whether you were boys or girls. So as soon as I came here to Singapore, I said I want to get back into it, and I've been with Aerion for 2 years now. So I love football. It's a passion of mine. It's a part of my life. So
wow.
Yes.
That's so nice to know. I think the thing about Still Aerion, which I noticed, is I guess there's like a camaraderie among you guys. It's very different from other clubs in the league. I think every season, no matter how new players come in, you guys find that special. That it's like a special thing that you guys have. Maybe Abby, you can share with me like what's special for you about Still Aerion.
I think it's a very supportive team. For me at least, like the club is nothing like I've ever been in before. I think I've been in school teams, I've been in university teams, but there's something about Still Aerion and the Aerion family that is very, very, I just think it's welcoming, everyone's supportive, we can criticize each other in an open way. We're not all happy all the time, but we're able to pick each other up, and I think that's a very important thing. And I think it's just the culture of the team.
Larissa, yourself, I mean, like 2 years you've been here. What have you enjoyed about this team?
I've enjoyed growing with these ladies. I've seen the ladies from last season to this season. We're becoming stronger, tighter, more cohesive as a unit, and I see us just playing so much better as well. So my loyalty is to Aerion, always, forever and always.
And also congrats to the team.
Oh, this side, sorry.
Congrats to the team as well. I think you guys just recently signed a deal with Skechers, right? I see you're all like knitted up in Skechers.
Yes.
Yep.
So how are the shoes? How are the shoes?
Fantastic. They're light, comfortable.
Some cushioning.
Yes.
A little bit of grip.
Yes.
These are quite nice as well. Yeah.
Nice.
Yes.
Still Aerion has some of the nicest kits in the league as well. And I have one myself. I actually bought one, guys. So this is the home, I believe, and that's the away one. So which is your favorite, like, out of the two?
I really like the pink one. I love pink.
I do like the blue as well too. We stand out definitely.
You'll look good in whatever color you wear.
Okay. So that's the I guess the official chance. So I'm sure that you guys will be seeing more people wearing the kits in the upcoming, when the season resumes. But speaking of that, I just want to know your story. I mean, you said you played in the
United States,
right?
Yes.
And for yourself, I just want to ask how the love story with football started. When was the first time you actually fell in love with the beautiful game, Abby?
Okay, for me it was my brother that introduced me to football. I think for a lot of people, older siblings, and then my parents as well. I grew up with my mom being a runner, so she always taught me to like, okay, this is how fast we run. And then my brother was like doing ball work with me, playing against the wall, that kind of thing. So I think he was my first coach. And then at that time I was homeschooled, and then when I went into international school, I was in a team. So lucky enough to have an all-girls team. But yeah, that was the love of the sport, and I think in an international environment, there's also a culture around football, a bit more than maybe in the local scene. So there's people from the US and UK specifically that, or Australia, that they're really into sports. So that made me also want to be really into sports.
Cool. I guess it's the culture as well, right? You mentioned Australia. Obviously, Australia hosted the recent Women's World Cup, and in Australia, there's a lot of parks and places you guys can play football, which is a little bit different here. We don't really have places you can just have a kick about, right? And for yourself, like, what's your story like? How do you fall in love with soccer, as they say in the States?
It's similar to Abby. So I have two older brothers, and they played when they were younger. So I very much looked up to my older brothers. I idolized them. If you look at pictures of me when I was younger, very much a tomboy, always wearing what they were wearing. Umbro was a big brand back in the United States for sports. So my love was watching them play, and it's my very first sport that I've ever played. So I've played, like I said, with my primary and secondary school. I also played when I was in university. I played for a club team, so that's how I continue to play. And in the United States, we can play all year round. So we also have indoor soccer. So even in the fall and the winter when it's cold outside, we're in these like domes, these kind of like big bubbles. So we can still play all around throughout the year, so it's fantastic. So we never take like a break, really.
Wow,
so
I never got a bubble.
And the next 4 years are going to be really important for you guys. You know, you're hosting so many tournaments. I think the Men's World Cup, the Copa America, apparently the Women's World Cup might be going back there as well. So I think it's really growing in the States. I'm sure you'll be really excited about that.
Yes, football, well, we call it soccer. Everywhere else is football, but yes, it's a very big sport in the United States, and a lot of girls play, and it continues to grow, and I'm happy to see that and excited.
Fantastic. You know, let's talk a little bit about Still Aerion in the WPL right now. You guys, I believe, are 6th on the table. Seventh on the table. So I want to talk a little bit about your thoughts on where you guys are right now and how you hope to improve. Abby, maybe for yourself.
Yeah, I think the last half was quite challenging, but definitely in the next half, we're already in the next half. We're just going to try to max out as many points as possible and try to be in the top half if possible. Yeah, we're definitely coming back with a fighting spirit. I think a lot of teams have had a lot of injuries and then change of players and formations. So those are definitely challenges. And it takes a while for everyone to also gel together. Yeah, but I think we've got this for the next half.
Yeah. Got this. Yes. For yourself?
Key word that our team has been using throughout the season is conviction. So we have the conviction to keep playing as hard as we're playing. Yes, you know, we've had some games that have upset us. We've walked in thinking, okay, maybe we have this, and we've kind of had a reality check, like, okay, wait, maybe don't just think that. So. And as Abby has said, we've had injuries, so we're making sure that during this time right now we take care of ourselves, you know, with injury prevention and also strengthening our bodies and our minds to come back out there and continue and get into the top half by the end.
And I'm sure everyone will be looking forward to seeing how you guys do. A little bit about that. I mean, you know, you've probably played almost all the teams in the league now. So which one has stood out to you? I mean, in terms of the way they play, or anyone who has impressed you so far in the league? In terms of opposition teams?
Okay, for me it's going to be the Geylang team. It may not be because they're maybe the top team in the league, but because, like Larissa said, I think sometimes we can underestimate certain players or certain teams, and it's a good opportunity to also grow from that kind of game. So I think for me it would be Geylang, because I was really impressed with their fighting spirit and how much they wanted to win. And I think that's something that we can all learn from. Yeah.
Larissa?
I would say for me, one of the new teams that has joined the league this year, the police force. So they have a lot of experienced players on that team. So it's interesting to play against them and see how they play, and other teams that also have different formations from us. So that's kind of been a struggle for us too, is learning how to play against them, and that strengthens us as a team, knowing how to tactfully win against them, or at least, you know, have that draw.
Okay, and speaking of that, I just want to ask you guys, in your team or even players you've played against, anyone that stood out to you, or you know, you just want to shout out, you know, maybe someone that you respect, you know, in your team, a teammate perhaps, Abby?
For me, I would shout out Dee and Fonda, who are my center backs. I think because I came into the season late, without them I wouldn't have any direction, and I really appreciate, you know, getting that. Getting yelled at and getting that direction from them.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Larissa, for yourself?
For me, I think I want to give Mira a shout out and also Phi a shout out. So Phi has been working extremely hard, and you know, we're the last offense, the fullbacks, you know, stopping the goal from being scored. But yeah, the two of them definitely. Before every match, we always have a powwow, and the two of them always give speeches to, you know, relax, stay calm, communicate. So definitely the two of them.
Phi and Mira, they've both been on a show, and I think they're leaders in some way, right?
Yes,
definitely.
definitely.
And you have a lot of leaders in the show as well. I mean, in the team as well. But I want to ask you guys a little bit about. Have you guys heard of you guys have a sister team, right? Called the Royal Arion, I believe. And there are 4 Thai national team players right now playing for them. So I'm just a bit curious, have you guys like met them or, you know, seen how they played or anything like that? Because they have played at the World Cup, so that's really cool, I have to say.
And you can tell they played at the World Cup. So we see them at training. We were training with them previously before the season started. Just their first touch on the ball, the way, even when before training even starts, they're already in the right mindset, they're switched on, the bands are going, and you look at them and you're like, wow, you just want to be just like that. But yeah, that's the level of dedication and skill that they have.
Cool. You know, and speaking of that, I'm not sure if they might play in WPL next season, but if they do, imagine how strong the team will be.
Yes.
I mean, because we're coming from, of course, the recent Women's World Cup, and I did ask my previous guest about this, and I just wanted to ask, did you guys follow the recent Women's World Cup?
Yes.
Were you guys happy with the winner, Spain?
I was supposed, okay, so I'm a Lioness fan for the England Lionesses. But I think Spain played really, really well in that last match, so I think they definitely deserved that win.
And were you happy with the result? I mean, the States, obviously, they didn't get to the finals, but they have won it many times.
Yes, unfortunately. But yes, I was happy that Spain won. They did play very well, and it was a very fun game to watch, and also tense at times too, because both teams were battling for it. They wanted it so bad. Yeah,
and of course, Spain have used their voice in a great way, I would say, recently, by making sure that, you know, their reforms were being heard and their requests were being heard as well. Do you think that, you know, it was a good move by them to sort of say that we're not going to play until all these changes are made to the federation?
Yeah, I think enough is enough. I think, it was quite, I mean, horrible to see the incidents that took place. But yeah, there should be consequences for your actions, and I think that it's very good what's happening now.
And also a little bit about, you know, your aspirations for women's football in Singapore. I mean, I'm sure, Abby, you're going to be here for the next couple of years. I'm not sure about you, Larissa, but what would you like to see from our league, you know, moving forward?
I want to continue to see the league grow. I mean, this year 3 more teams were added. Next year I want to see even more teams added, more outreach and programs into the communities so younger girls know this is an amazing sport to play. There's so many things you can learn from this sport. You can make friends. I mean, it really is. Football is life. I think that.
That's why we're here.
What would you like to see in our beautiful game in Singapore?
Yeah, I think other than the competitions that we have, I think it would be great to have more academies and more young girls getting involved in the game. I mean, I still talk to some of like my neighbors, for example, and they're like, oh, I want to play, but my school doesn't have a team, so they have to sign up on the weekends, and then there's tuition, so then, you know, how do we balance those things if their school doesn't have a team? So it'd be great if schools had a girls' team.
A girls' team.
Or at least a mixed team. Like you grew up in a mixed team, so at least a team where they can play. Yeah.
There are a lot of options, you know, and I'm sure that we'll see more moving forward because a lot of academies coming up and a lot of teams like you guys, not just you guys, but everyone's coming up under 13, 12. And I hope that means we'll see more girls in the sport. And speaking of that, I just want to ask you guys, I mean, I'm sure you guys have family and friends they have been there for you. So how has the level of support been from your family and friends for what you're doing right now?
Amazing. So last year, the league had I think they had somebody that would broadcast it on YouTube, which was fantastic. So every week I shared that link with family and friends back in the United States and in Europe, all over the world, and they would watch and support. So there are a lot of fans in the States supporting
Yay, Still Aerion.
Still Aerion and women's football in general here in Singapore. So yeah, they are totally on board with it, and you know, they're happy that the sport is growing here.
Fantastic. And for yourself, like, what's the support like for yourself, your family and friends?
Yeah, I have a great support system. I think my parents have always been super supportive of football and other sports that I've played in the past. And friends have come down. I think we've had a lot of friends, even colleagues, coming down just to watch the games, and that's great because the fan support has been unmatched, I think, for us, for our team, and we can hear them from the pitch, so that's great.
Oh, that's good. Yeah,
the louder the better.
All right. I mean, it was so good to have both Abby and Larissa from Still Aerion joining me today, and of course, as we always do every week, we wish them all the best in the upcoming when the league resumes. But of course, we also have a couple of messages that we always do every week for fans and followers out there. So maybe Abby, for yourself, a message.
Thank you so much for coming down to support us, our friends, family, colleagues, pets, everyone. Please continue to come down and cheer on Aerion. Go, go, go.
Yeah, Larissa?
My message would be like to all the young girls here in Singapore thinking of playing, and those playing now, is never give up on your dreams. I came here and I wanted to play and I sought it out, and now I'm here with Aerion for 2 years. I'm so happy. I'm so excited to be on this team. So like Abby said, thank you to everyone that comes out every week to support us. We really appreciate it. Thank you.
Yay! Well said, girls. Thank you so much, Larissa and Abby.
And we'd like to have one final message. We'd like to thank all of our wonderful sponsors. We have Cafe Football, Arena, we have orthopedic physiotherapy, and we have so many, Hydro Flask, One Sport SG, and Skechers. So thank you all to all of our sponsors.
Thank you.
Well said. Thank you so much, ladies, for joining me today on the WPL show. And of course, do continue to support women's football in Singapore. And thank you, Deloitte, as well, for their support of the beautiful game here. I'm Ash, and I'll see you guys next time.